This is Stanley Tucci's favorite pasta in the world. This is the spaghetti alla Nerano, also known as zucchini pasta. I want to make it with bucatini though, but here's how I make it. We're going to start off with some small zucchinis, probably about 2 or 3 per person per serving. Yeah. And we're going to cook it in sunflower oil. That's how they did it in the show. That's how I'm going to do it. If you can't find sunflower oil, it's totally fine. I'm also checking out these knives by a brand called Butterfork. They sent me these. I'm not trying to sell them to you, but I just wanted to check them out. They're really cool. These handles are all replaceable for different colors and shapes. Really nice knives. They also cut really well. So we're just going to tip and tail these zucchinis like usual. If you want, you can go ahead and you can cut them all by hand, but the more consistent of a size you can get, the better they're going to fry, the better they're going to break down while you're cooking them, and the better everything is just going to turn out. So I do recommend using a mandolin. Get it to a fairly large setting. You want to go about 1/4 of an inch here. Right there is right about where I want them, but you want them all very consistent in size, and go ahead and just mandolin all these zucchinis down. If you can only find large zucchinis, that's also fine. They're just going to have some more seeds in them, and they may not be as sweet, so the smaller the zucchini, preferably the better. Once you get those all cut up though, we're going to throw them into the oil. Temperature here really doesn't matter. Just get them hot enough that they start to bubble. We're not looking for a full-on deep fry. We're just trying to get some browning on these quite nicely. Move them around, make sure they're doing their thing. If you have a deep fryer like I do, go ahead and use it. I just didn't feel like it today. But that's about as brown as I really want to get them. The next 2 batches are going to be a little more browned, but you're not trying to deep fry here. You're just trying to get color. Once you get those out, throw them into some paper towel to drain and get to room temperature, and then just repeat the process until you're completely done. Once they fully cool, see these got a little more browned, we're going to throw them into a bowl, and we're going to let these sit overnight. So you do need to start a day early. You could also, if you want, do these in the morning and then cook them that night. I think that's going to work out completely fine for you, and that's what I did. But just cover them up, throw them into your fridge for about 8-10 hours, and you're good to go. Here we are now ready to actually make the dish. These have now fully cooled. They've been sitting there for many hours, preferably overnight, but if you don't have that time, 8 to 10. And you can see they've started to let out some juice. They're very nice and soft now, so we're going to get them back into the Dutch oven with a little bit of oil, and we're going to just continue to cook these down. You're at this point going to make them almost into a paste-like sauce. That's the goal of this dish. But just throw them in there. Spread them out nicely. I'm going to get them in there while it's still fairly cool and let them come up to temperature with the Dutch oven. And then season these fairly liberally. This is really the only seasoning you need. If you want to throw garlic in here also, you can also do that. But now just kind of start to break them down a little bit, move them around. At this point, get your pasta in. Here's what you're looking for. They're starting to let some of that liquid out that's left in them, and they're really starting to cook down into a really nice kind of puree almost. To help that process, I'm going to throw in just a few spoonfuls worth of the starchy pasta water. And in a matter of, a minute after you do that, you'll see these really start to break down. And they're going to become really almost gross looking. It doesn't look appetizing. It looks like baby food in a sense. Like you can tell they're just kind of falling apart. But that's what you want. It's going to become a beautiful sauce. 2 minutes away from that pasta being done, we're going to throw in 4 tablespoons of butter. That's the secret. On the show, they didn't make it look like it was a lot of butter, but this dish is basically all butter. Get that in, really start to fold it in nicely. And you can see it starts to take on this really nice kind of brown color now. You're getting those brown bits from the zucchinis are starting to really become the overall shade in there. And this is just going to become a very nice kind of cohesive, homogeneous sauce at this point. You could already tell it looks absolutely beautiful. Then once your pasta's ready, take it out and just throw it directly into here. You don't need to worry about any pasta water coming with it. That's totally fine. That's what you want it. And for the last about 1 minute, we're going to cook it in the Dutch oven. Mix this all together. Right off the bat, you can see it is a little bit thick. And this is definitely a thick sauce. It's not a very thin sauce. So you really want to use that pasta water to keep it at a nice consistency for what you're looking for. If it gets too thick, it's just going to clump up. So I'm going to continue adding little bits of pasta water here just to level it out where I want it to be. In the show, they also use a cheese you really can't get in America. So I'm going to use a mix of Pecorino Romano and Parmesan. If you can get what they have, it's listed all over the website. It's just not, I don't think, necessary to this dish. And the people I've seen who have made it here say it turns out just as great. But mixing those 2 cheeses will give you a real nice blend of flavors. Pec Romano and Parm. Mix that all together. Continue to really weigh out if you need more pasta water or not. I think this needs a little more, so we are going to throw into a splash more directly from the pot this time. I got sick of using that spoon. Wasn't the best option for it. Mix it all together, and that is the consistency you're looking for right there. That is absolutely perfect. It's nice and thick, but it is sauce-like. Now we're just going to plate that up. Look at how beautifully it coats this pasta. You can see kind of the outer skin of the zucchini is very much apparent, but you can't really see any other big pieces because it has melted down into this absolutely beautiful sauce. Cover it with a little bit of parm. Also get out those zucchini bits that are in the pot still. And there you go. Look at that. Beautifully coated. It almost looks like it's some sort of cream-based sauce because of how beautifully it coats it. And trust me, that's the most amazing part. Diving in now to taste it, it is creamy, it's decadent, and you don't have anything in there besides zucchini and butter. Obviously, the butter gives it a level of creaminess, but it is just so mind-blowingly good. I understand why this is his favorite dish in the world. It lived up to every expectation, and I can only imagine how much better it is fresh there in Italy, but you need to try this.